Step aboard Motor Yacht Unbridled, where elegance meets the open sea. Dive into a world of refined adventure, tailored experiences, and 5-star service. From sun-soaked decks to moonlit dinners, every moment on Unbridled is designed to indulge your senses, whether it's an intimate escape or a celebration of a lifetime. Unbridled, where the extraordinary is standard.
Hey folks, once again, it's Captain Liam, Motor Yacht Unbridled. This is the bridge. We're in San Francisco, and I'm honoured today to have David Clarke, Captain David Clarke.
Well, 27 years at sea. I don't think you ever stopped being a captain. So, so that's right.
And tell me about Laurel. I mean, that's a special boat. That's one of my favourites in the industry.
Yeah, mine too. It was a real honour to be part of that project, and to be involved in it from the very beginning, where my wife and I, we were running the owner's 50-metre fed ship. And they wanted to build a bigger platform because they wanted to go a bit more adventurous. They wanted to get, to see the world a little bit further afield and on a nice big platform. So they wanted to build a 70-metre. So through that process, on their 50-metre, we went through the design process and had all the plans on board and was pretty much involved in some of the layouts and the bridge design and things like that, which was really special to be a part of. And then going and to the build in Delta in Seattle for the first almost 2 years there at Delta that on delivery, and then operated for 5 years after that around the world. It just doesn't get any better than that as far as a yacht captain goes, and especially for Laurel. There was really an incredible platform and project. The guys at Delta, Jack Jones, Doug Gleason, Jay Miner. They were just fantastic, great to deal with, and just a wonderful project. We had an awesome build team, and the project couldn't have been more successful.
Yeah, the world team at Delta. I mean, I've worked with them before. I worked on a smaller, not a smaller version, but a vessel called Triton, built back in the day with Captain Clarke and all that. And I had the honour of going there for a bit of work done in Delta, and really is there's certain yachts in the industry stand out, and that's one. Not just the build, but the way it's managed in the program.
Yeah.
So from there, did you then go on to Charter Guest or Total Super Yacht, or where do you want to start? A lot of questions here that people have sent in. Some of them are quite technical, but kind of one of the first one is what inspired you to create? Which one was first? Total Super Yacht?
It was really Total Super Yacht. Because after I left Laurel and we came ashore, because when we built Laurel, my wife and I had our child on board for the first 4 years of her life, and we had a nanny that looked after our daughter. And so we traveled around the world as a family, and that was a beautiful experience. But then we knew that at some point we had to go ashore because we needed to put our daughter into school, and so that was really our timeline. So we gave the boss basically 4 years notice to then hand over to the new captain. So the transition was really good, and everything was the succession was just perfect. So when we came ashore, I was 40 odd years old, and I felt as though I still had a lot more to contribute to the industry, and wanted to give back to the industry that gave me so much throughout my career. So at that point, I really felt as though I had all these documents and all this information, all this knowledge that through my career it was sometimes difficult to get those old Sea Dog captains to open their playbook and to give that information out freely. Yeah. And I thought that was a real tragedy, because as a young captain, what the challenge is that you grow up as a real practical person. You're a fisherman, you're a sailor, you're a diver, you're a surfer. You come through the deck department. You're a real hands-on mariner and a practical one. And when you get your first captain's job, you transition to be an administrator. And a lot of administration, you don't learn that administration if you're a practical sailor and a practical ocean man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Waterman. So, when the young captains first come into that job, the industry almost sets them up to fail, because we don't transition them well from being a practical person to an administrator. And so, the challenge is, how do you become an administrator when you've been a practical person all your life?
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, the only way to do that is to help young guys, help people have those documents that helped me so much. And so I created Superyacht Operating Systems as a platform to be able to give all this information back to the industry to help guys become better captains, to help the industry, and give them a platform that they could download all this information for free. And kind of that's how it started. So it was more of a give back to the industry in how it started, and to help captains become better administrators.
And I remember that, and I kind of from there, I remember when you were we created a whole new generation of captains, and I see so many people now are pushing these platforms, and that are all based on your information. I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that, but I see so many people copying in a way without saying it in a negative connotation, because every platform's got its own uniqueness. Yeah. But there's so many people copy what you've created, and but in the end of the day, it's really special what you've done. And I agree with you, a hands-on captain. That's how I grew up. I grew up diving and fishing in Byron Bay, I'm from, but then North Queensland Townsville. What about you?
I'm a Queensland boy, Southeast Queensland, Sunshine Coast.
Did you know Gordon Scott?
Yes, I do know Gordon Scott.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so it's a small industry in Australia in that sense, but a lot of great mariners have come from it. Like, I'm working with a lot of group of captains now. I'm not into social media per se, but I'm enjoying the platform that it's creating to give back. Kind of similar with you, with the platforms you've created to give back. I've created this platform that I want to use to give back to different, crew development and crew training, and also obviously chartering Unbridled. So that's where we started. You moved from Total Superyacht or Superyacht Operating Systems, correct? SOS.
Yeah, correct. So it all started with that Superyacht Operating System as the platform. Then we really felt as though I had to go digital, because sustainability and environmental progress and everything else, it really had to go digital to make sure that there wasn't all this paperwork that was on board. And so that was the next evolution of it, was that we developed a system, a digital system where all that it was completed on the iPad. So everything is signed off, pre-departure checks, bunkering transfer procedures, permits to work, all of those things are completed on the iPad. And then it was just an evolution from there. And with the clients that we had, there was a lot of requests about all that. What you're doing is really great, but we'd love to see this in it. So we worked with great owners and captains and programs that helped us just develop the platform into what it is today. And Charter Guest was a exact situation out of an owner or a captain asking, "Hey, is there something you can do to help us make this situation on board better?" And so that's how Charter Guest was born.
That's how Charter Guest was born. And when was that? What year was Charter Guest born?
Only a couple of years ago, actually. I would say, Mac, I got to say, sometimes the years run into each other. I think probably 4 years ago now that we started, and then the development stage, and then releasing it at Antigua a couple of years ago was our first real success that we had at the show. Was an overwhelming success. People just loved it. They could really see the need for it. There've been a lot of captains and chief stewards and pursers have been kind of had this idea themselves, but you don't. It's great to have an idea, but the execution of it is the hardest thing, and trying to convert an idea into a product. And when you're a yacht crew member, is very difficult, because it's just time. That's all it is. It's time and money, and you can do anything. Like that was our motto on Laurel. Give us time and money, boss, and we can do anything.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also, I don't know, it's a different world you live in with this. As a yacht captain, you've got so much you can put your energy into, I think. Starting to look away, I sometimes get distracted, I like thinking when I look away. But, a lot of times, captain or as a crew member, I put my energy into, I can see a result. There's just so many options as a captain where you put your energy. Is it itinerary based? Is it vessel development based? Is it keeping the boss happy? So there's so many different things pulling from you as a captain. That's kind of why I started this captain's chat, is to say, look, it's a good career, it's a good choice, but it's not easy. Like, it's really difficult as a captain. But tools like you're providing are a game changer. And I think it was Jody, and who else was there this year at Antigua?
My daughter, so Kira, which is she's now 18 years old, and she was the little girl growing up on the super yacht.
Yeah, and is Jody your partner or Kira's your daughter?
Kira's my daughter.
Yeah, and Jody?
She's my partner.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the reason I asked that and have so much detail is I see a lot coming down the dock in my years at sea and different shows.
Yes.
And brokers and owners and crew and all. And for some reason, Jody and your daughter Kira, they're walking next and comfortable, and I was like, nice people. And then I kind of saw the shirt, and then they came on board, and they were very humble and very polite, and above all, really, and they weren't trying to sell a product. They were giving us access to a tool. They did that. I kind of want to go speak to the chief officer, speak to the project. Yeah. And I knew I kind of wanted to move towards this path. All of a sudden, it was great. The chief officer came to me, must have captain. Oh, thank you very much, Eddie. And then the chief, how will we not have this? How do we not have this? Like you're saying, where do you want to put your time and energy? Yeah. So, and we've had it now. The setup was easy. This is not a paid promotion, by the way, everyone. This is me being the one thing about this captain's chat. It's just unbridled, But it is really one of the most seamless or frictionless experiences from a vendor person or a company to an operator or to a user. And I really do, David, take my hat off to you, your partner, and your daughter, because it's not an easy sell. There's a lot of egos and a lot of crew that are defense trolling, but what your team have put together, an industry leader, and it's perfect. It's perfect.
Well, that's really kind of you to say, Liam. We really appreciate that. A lot of work went into the user interface, because that's so important today, with the ability to not only just use it once it's set up, but the setup itself. Because the one thing that we all know about being on board as yacht crew members is that we're all time poor. That's the reality of it. As you said before, you can only focus on certain things. There's only 24 hours in the day, and you can't work all of them. And so you have to get to a point where what's the most important thing? Is it data entry, or is it printing out paper and then filing it into folders for the guests to see? And damn it, that second engineer just rotated out. Now I've got to do it all again, and because I only change out because we have a change of crew members. We don't have the jet skis on board this season because we're up in Alaska. So now I've got to reprint all of the binders or the guest details, and then go around into 8 different cabins and swap all the paperwork out. I'm pretty sure the crew members have much better things to do than that.
Yeah, exactly. What I love about it is, as a captain, the itinerary side of things. And once again, it's not a paid promotion, it's just captains and an observation that I really think, because so many products get sold out there and you don't really get the reviews or the real, it's one thing I've learned about yachtings is you don't really get the inside information of what it's like from an onboard perspective. Yeah. So I pull up and then airplay the itinerary you've presented or we've created and we've worked with you to present, and then you just see it down on the routes we take. We adjust the routes, and obviously in Costa Rica we were there, David, working together, and I'm like, well, I need this and this, and you're very responsive, which I appreciate. So what's one of the big things? I think it's a great product at the end of the day. I've heard wonderful things about it. Where do you find the industry going from a charter guest perspective, or what are you seeing as trends? That's one of the questions from a broker we have here. Because you're on the data side of things. Are you seeing anything that's more interactive experience with the information, or what are you seeing or requests?
Well, I think the trends today is more active cruising, more adventurous cruising. The milk run is going to be always there, and the Caribbean is going to be always there. But I think we see a lot more people wanting to go further afield and be more adventurous. And that puts a whole different perspective on what's on board, because you've got to evaluate if you're going to Iceland for the period, or up into the Bridle Lakes and Nova Scotia area, Newfoundland, and that's beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
There is, you need to evaluate what you have on board. And so, you're certainly not taking jet skis and water tours up there. There's that sort of thing, I think, is cruising further afield is a big trend, and guests wanting to see the nature more so than the human-made buildings and structures. So in south of France, love the south of France, but there's only how many times you can see at the front of Monaco and look at the Oceanographic Museum.
Yeah, I'll go to an expensive restaurant with your rosé and hard to get a table too, and they want to stay on the yacht in the end,
Yeah. So, and that's the thing about yachting, is that you really want to get away from it. And owners and charter guests, it's a rat race out there. And when you're in business, it's no different. It's a rat race. Your business is, you're focused, and you want to get away from that and to be anchored out in a beautiful bay by yourself, no one else around, in full nature, beautiful water. You can go to the beach and walk on that beach and have no one else there. They're the special moments, and have your grandchildren and your children with you and have, play on the beach or whatever, get back to nature, out for a swim with your children and grandchildren. Those are the times where the special memories that you take with you going forward into the later periods of life, and you reflect back on them and go, that was beautiful. I had such a great time on that yacht down there with my family. It really bonded us and brought us together as a family, and we really connected to my grandchildren, my daughter, and things like that. So those are the special things that I think are really important to owners and charter guests, that make yachting so special that they just keep coming back.
I agree 100%. I'm quite judgmental in the way I do things. Or you only find so many small moments, like an hour or half an hour, where they're in the water and the parents are sitting on the back of the yacht, on the back of the, on the main deck aft, looking down at their kids playing, or everyone's there. And that only happens a certain amount of times on a certain week. So to make those moments as a captain, and it's not narrated, but it's carefully orchestrated, that the music's perfect, it's good. Stewardesses are calm. I love it. That's the hook. That's what drives me as a charter boat captain. And we have our challenge, which is Alaska.
Yeah, we love it up there. Glacier Bay is just incredible. Tracy Arm, the glaciers through there. The towns are really beautiful. The whales. Dolphins Point, put that in your book, mate. You cannot go past and have a stop at Dolphins Point without seeing at least 10 whales. They're there every day. It's just south of the entrance to Glacier Bay, and it's where a current line runs along. So you get a lot of, where there's current, you get krill and you get food, and that's where the whales they track along that current line, and you see them all the time. It's guaranteed whales, no matter what day you're there.
Sounds like you miss it there, Dave. Wow. Not many people in the world get to see what we do as yacht captains and the places you've been. I mean, still probably my favorite is Solomon Islands for some reason. The people are just hit a spot for me. I do Alaska. I love Kodiak. It's probably my second, and then my third is probably what you like, that area of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. There's a cruising region. It's special. The combination of shoreside attractions and scenery, and then the people that are there, they really just balance it out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's beautiful up there. Well, I think my favorite cruising destination, I'll probably have two. Galapagos Islands, which everyone should visit the Galapagos Islands at least once in their lifetime. It is truly one of the most special places on Earth for nature and sea life, and what is there and where it is geographically within the globe. And then the other place is Papua New Guinea. Go to Papua New Guinea, it is like stepping back 400 years in time. It is going up. We took Laurel up the Sepik River, and it was like when we anchored out in front of these villages, and it was like landing a spaceship in front of them. I swear, it was. We were like, from another world. Really was, and going ashore and it was quite the experience. They're so natural, it's beautiful. All the time the boss was on board, he'd been a yacht owner for many, many, many years, decades, and Galapagos was his favourite area to cruise. After he went to Papua New Guinea, he said Papua New Guinea was now his most favourite place he'd ever been on the planet.
Yeah, I think so. It's Papua New Guinea, they're quite close. And what's next for charter itinerary? We do have a pilot coming in about, I think, 30 minutes out to Anchorage. But what's coming? You happy with where it's at? Where's the next adventures? What do you see for your companies?
It's pretty exciting right now. We're collaborating with a couple of really interesting companies that are integrating our application into their application. So it's more of a seamless transition on board between their application from ours for guests. So we can really enhance the guest experience on board with them. Getting to our app or other companies' apps very quickly. It's just through enough integration between our apps, so collaboration there. And also, with the guests having to sign off their emergency procedures. So we're just now introducing a new feature into the app where guests actually sign that they have acknowledged and understood the emergency procedures on board. They sign their signature with their finger on the screen of the iPad, and that's captured with their names, and the captain can see that Mr. Jones has signed and acknowledged and understands the emergency procedures on board and will follow them accordingly in the event of an emergency. So all that is coming down the line, which I think is fantastic. It's all about making sure that the captain is protected in the event of emergency and making sure that they're doing their due diligence and make sure that everyone's familiarised and safe on board.
Especially with these situations that are happening globally with incidences like vessel sinking and, other guests has really shown us a different way to do it with our clients. So we don't only do the briefing, we show them the iPad, but the first thing, their cabins, that's the first thing we actually show them. This app is where we'll go through the safety protocols and choose the equipment and the toys on board, to launch different, some tricks and also see the crew profiles. In closing, where can people find?
They find us online. Charterguest.com is the website for Charterguest, or it's Superyacht Operating Systems. Superyachtos.com is our company website. So, yes, please do yourself a favour and go and check those out, because you won't regret Charterguest. It is fantastic. It's a time saver. It's a game changer. It's cheap as chips, and it will be awesome for your guests.
And for all size vessels, I assume. I mean, looking at it, it's applicable to every different size vessel. You could have a small sail yacht up to a 100-meter. Got the same. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we have 30-meter boats or 130-meter boats using it. So yeah, absolutely, it spans the range, because it's no matter what boat you're on, we all do the same things. We all do beds and heads. We all maintain engines. We all navigate. So there's not much difference between yachts. A little bit of management style, owners and vessel specific needs, but realistically, many yachts are all the same.
Yeah, appreciate it. I have this saying, it's a Simon Garfunkel song. We're just trying to keep the customer satisfied. You know what I mean? That's my saying for all the crew always. Anyway, folks, I'm Captain Liam here. We're just about to get underway. We've got a pilot on board in San Francisco. Captain David Clarke, it's an absolute honour. I can't speak highly enough. Your family, Jody, for the industry and what you've done for vessels like Motor Yacht Unbridled. All the best, folks. We're off to Alaska. We're available for charter. Anything you need, let us know.